question that we're always asked, why do we pay service charges and what are the components of service charges? Service charges are important and major when it comes to servicing a building, operating it on the short term, medium term, and long term. And the components of a service charge are as follows. By the way, the service charges should be collected by the community management company that is assigned by the homeowners association regularly to service the buildings and to make sure that the buildings are serviced properly. The community management company regularly assign other facility management suppliers to service, to maintain, to operate the security, the reception, the maintenance, the garbage processing, and other sides of the building's operation. So the community charges or the service charges are three main components. One of them is which relates to your building itself, the operations of the building you live in, and the operations of the common area in specific. Thus, the corridors, from lighting to servicing and maintenance to cleaning to the reception, the concierge, if you have concierge, the security, garbage processing, and every service that relates to this side of the building's operation. The community, the common areas are owned by all of the owners. So every owner owns a share relative to his share of ownership of the building of the common areas. Thus has the liability and the responsibility to service those. And this is major for the upkeep of the building on the short term, medium term, and long term. The second portion is if your building was in a community, and most of the freehold buildings, for example, in Dubai, the city we live in, are in communities, there is services that are provided by the community itself. For example, there is the landscaping of the community, the lighting of the community, and other services that are related to the community. Those services are a second component, or provided or paid for by a second component, which is called the master community charge. So each building has a relevant component of the master community and the usage of the master community, thus has the responsibility to pay for the servicing of that proportion or of that portion of it. And the third part, which is also major, is what is called the sinking fund and the insurance side. So the insurance side, which can be part of the operations in a way or another, by the way, is insuring the building, making sure that if there's, God forbid, a fire, a flood, or anything like that, the component of the structure is covered. It doesn't involve the components which are contents in your house, but it involves, in general, the structure of the building. And the last part of the sinking fund, which mainly deals with major services similar to the elevator system needs to be upgraded or changed every few years. The outside of the building needs to be painted every few years. Now, when that takes place, there is regularly a lump sum of cash that needs to be injected, rather than the building or the homeowners association at that time obliging owners to pay a big lump sum as an added cost of that year. They take a portion of each year's service charge and they add them together to cover those costs. Now, many people ask, why is it much cheaper in villas rather than in buildings? In villas, what is maintained for you is the community. So what you're paying is the master community charge. You still need to do your own structure insurance, you still need to do your own structure maintenance, similar to painting from the outside, and you need to take a provision for that personally, because the community doesn't. The community charges you only for upkeeping of the community because you own the full structure. And regularly, there's no common areas like corridors and parking spots that need to be maintained by the master community. Your parking spots are maintained by you, and the outside of the villa is maintained by you. I hope this answers your question and allows you to think of service charges in a different way. They're not only a cost element, there is service element, a utility element, and most importantly, a future upkeep and value element that needs to be considered in every building. Don't be happy if the retention funds or if the sinking fund is not funded properly because it may be cheaper for you today, but it will cost you more with time. And this will be better for past buyers, people who buy a unit and sell it in a few years. But it will be worse for people who hold the unit for a long term. Thus, a proper balance of that and proper accounting for that is very important. All service charges in a city like Dubai, for example, can be seen and provided and approved for by RERA, and you can see it on the RERA website. So just enter the Dubai Land Department website, you can see the part which relates to service charges, and you can see what is approved for your building. Two more details that you need to know. The developer regularly may own a service company, which is not ideal because there may be a conflict of interest there as a master community or a community management company, which is not ideal, but this is a practice in many locations. Regardless of that, RERA does approve the audited use of those funds, and does approve the provision of this fund as an estimated fund, as budgeting for future years. The developer regularly collects, or the master community or community management company regularly collects the service charge every quarter at a time. Whenever they try to collect more than a quarter, you need to check with land department if that is allowed for them for a specific exception, if we could say. I hope this helped you. Enjoy your day and invest wisely.